Good evening, everyone. Look who's back. Matthew's here. Hello,
Hey,
Matthew. How are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
I'm okay. So, we have a lot to catch up on. You
We
have,
talk about the jacket first
uh,
because I love that you have the jacket. That's amazing.
thank you. Christina has one too. When she joins later, we're prepared. We're definitely all about the pink ladies.
I need to get one. I don't have one.
I know. So I want to do like a catch up because everyone that's here is going to love to hear what's coming out, and then we'll talk about your magnificent scene. I think it's my favorite one so far.
Really? Oh,
Yes,
I'm so glad.
yes,
It was a
it
lot of
cracks
fun.
me up. I loved it when I first started watching. We'll wait till we get into it. I'll
Okay.
tell you my reaction.
Yeah.
So, all right, you have what in the next few months? I think one, two, three, four movies, right?
Um, one, two, three. Yeah, yeah, four.
Four. All
Oh,
right.
yeah. They all just kind of, yeah, they're all kind of, because there's been some stuff that I filmed quite a while ago that just hasn't. I mean, Grease I filmed a year ago,
Right. Yes.
which has been torture, just, waiting for it to come out.
No, I know. So tell us about the VC Andrews stuff first.
Well, that was, yeah, again, did that last year, and that was so much fun because it's a period piece. Well, it's not a period, like, it depends what you call a period piece. Some people get offended when you say, okay,
I
it
know.
was the 90s, which technically,
It is. It is a period piece.
whenever somebody says 30 years ago, I think the 70s, but actually it's the 90s.
I know. I know.
We're all getting old. But no, what was exciting about this for me, it's actually it's over two movies. So my character appears in two movies, and I appear in the over various decades. You see me in the 50s, I think the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. So the outfits were incredible. The 70s outfits were amazing. They've got like a big velvet bow tie,
Hmm.
the big collars and the flares and the shit. So that was a lot of fun because I think as an actor, anything like that it can't hurt to get you in the into character.
Hmm.
So yeah, so the makeup team did a great job. When I was supposed to be in my sort of 60s, but in the 90s I was supposed to be in the 60s, so I was grayed up, and but it was fun to be able to play that a longer character arc. So I even played with things like my posture, like because of what the character was going through and things like that. So, but yeah, that was a fun experience. So I'm looking forward to that coming out.
All right. Well, we are VC Andrew fans here. We watch. There was one not too long ago. I think Chris McNally, he was even in one of the
Right.
he played such a creepy guy, but you kind of liked him anyway. But that's how the character was in the book too. But I read VC Andrews everything I could get my hands on when I was like, I don't know, in my teens. And some of the stuff I was reading, I was like, what? Oh my, this is like
Mm. Yeah, to the point, even past the point, it's not just some of it's not just raunchy or anything. It's a little bit sort of okay. Is anybody
I
else like reading over my shoulder?
I
Um,
know,
no,
I
I
know.
think, and it's funny you say that. Sometimes the most fun characters to play are the ones who you don't expect to be creepy, or the
Right.
ones you like, and then they have a darker side.
Yes, and VC Andrews is famous for that. What is your, character's name?
Bronson Alcott. So
Oh,
Bronson Alcott. He's a businessman who he owns the mortgage on the hotel. Because I appear in Twilight's Child and Midnight Whispers.
okay.
So the whole thing is about Dawn, and then there's Dawn Longchamp, and then it follows the family, and I'm like a family friend, and oh god, it's one of those things that I can't say too much about because I know
Nope,
that
that's good,
just
good enough.
everything away. But
No,
yeah,
that's good enough.
you'll know the story. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's actually a good tease, and anyone that is familiar with, the work, they'll understand, so they'll be excited, and I believe is that July?
I think that's coming out in July. Yeah,
Right.
I think they're doing week after week, so
Yeah.
maybe one a week. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm
Well,
excited
cool,
to see.
and you'll make sure you post on social media too, so we could see with a reminder, and then I'll copy it and put it on mine too.
Okay. So
So
do you know those have you read those 2 books? Have you
I've read everything that I could possibly get my hands on, but it has been forever and a day since I've read them. But that doesn't mean anything. When I see something like that come out, sometimes I'll reread, but then sometimes I like to watch and then reread.
Okay.
So it depends. I do that with Bridgerton because I'm a big Julia Quinn fan, and I'll read, well, I've read almost everything she has, and then I'll go back right before it's coming out. So I don't know.
You like to read it before it comes out, so you already know what's coming, and then do you like to sort of go, um, see what it's like on the screen, see if it's how you visualized it? Or
No, I'll tell you why. I can appreciate no, I expect it to be different because everybody's, when you say a beautiful woman walked in a room or a handsome man, well, what I'm thinking and you're thinking could be totally different things. And then people get all bent out of shape. Even if they said dark hair, blue eyes, still not going to look the same.
yeah.
And then when you're reading and it takes all that text and dialogue to get a scene going, narrative, then you can't do that on script. You got to act it out, or even sometimes introduce a character to convey that feeling. So I'm okay with that. I appreciate the differences.
Well, that's
But
the funny thing is I write scripts, and that's one of the things about scripts. It's cutting, cutting, cutting as many words as you can. The less you can actually describe, the better. So that you can have things happen as opposed to just describe
yes,
it, because you have to make it. It's not about the reader; it's about what's going to appear on screen.
right.
Yeah, I remember. Was it 50 Shades of Grey or something? When there
Yes.
was so much thing because every person who'd read it had a different idea of what Christian Grey would look like.
Yes.
So I feel for anyone taking on a role like that, because
Yeah.
it's just you're not going to please everybody.
I look at them as like separate things, like separate pieces of art, but I still like to know. I'm the kind of person that likes to know. All right, so we've got this delicious VC Andrews coming out.
Oh, and
Then
also playing
oh,
my wife is Miranda Friggin, who I played, who I worked with on Aurora Tea Garden Mysteries. She plays my wife.
oh, so you had a little mini reunion.
Little mini reunion. So I think I can say that. Yeah, I can say that.
You
So
can.
yeah,
Mhm.
and she plays fantastic characters. She's really, yeah, she really embodied that, and it was great. So yeah, we had a lot of fun.
It's nice. Well, I would like being able to, well, as long as you have a good relationship, and I know that you do, but I'm like, I would like, it's like a little, like a reunion. Oh,
Mhm.
I don't have to guess. I don't have to guess what you like and don't like. I know. So I think that's fun. And we look forward to it because whenever we see like two characters on a together, and then we're like, oh, these are great actors. I know they made these characters come up. We like to see this again. Right away, everybody's like, sequel, sequel. And I'm like, no, let's just see them in something else
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Right? Sequel. How many sequels can we have? Goodness gracious. No. All right. So then we've got Creep Show. Are you creepy in the Creep Show?
It is a creepy. It is very creepy. When I read the script for this, it's really good. Like the twists and the turns. Like it was one of those things where I was reading going, no, no, and it was so that was really exciting to get to do that. But what was fantastic about that? My first day of shooting on that, there's a scene, and it happens in kind of like a flashback where I'm a photographer. I play a photographer,
Hmm.
famous photo, and you see me in a war zone, and I'm surrounded by gunfire. And did you almost use did you suck on the pen instead? But I'm in a war zone, and it's raining, and the car that I'm hiding behind a car, and it's on fire, and there was wind machines, there was two rain towers, it was muddy, and honestly, it was one of the most satisfying days of work that I've ever done, because so many times when you as an actor, you're about to do a scene, and they call finals, and you come in and they touch up your makeup, and you're
Right.
thinking, to do this, or just make
Right.
sure thing, and you start to wait, oh, make sure that this is not coming out or anything like that.
Mhm.
This, I was covered in, I was just soaked through. I didn't have to worry about hair, makeup, anything like that. It was like really, really, truly being there, and it was cold, but very, very worthwhile. So
I
yeah, that was.
love
I can't wait for that to come out.
I like when the actor says they're reading the script and they're like, "Oh, oh, we had The Way Home, new series for Hallmark, and that's what they would tell us. Oh, we're so shocked. Our jaw was like at the end. So we're all like, huh, we don't want it to end, but we're like excited, along with everyone else, which is nice.
Yeah.
I always guess what's happening next. So well, that's hyperbole. I usually guess what's next, right? But I would like it.
You're thinking, I wonder if it's this or that, and then when that
Yeah.
happens, see, told you. Yeah, I have friends that could throw out all the theories, and then they
Yeah.
come, yeah.
All right. So this creep show, when is that coming out? Do we know?
It's August because we filmed it. Yeah, we filmed it last year, and it was maybe I think it's because they're planning to sort of around. I think some of them because it's an anthology, so I think some of the episodes will appear maybe around coming up to Halloween. I don't know, and
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I think it's August. So it
Oh,
has. So
another thing we'll be on the lookout. This is funny. A comment came through, and I have to put it up because it's what you're talking about. This is
okay.
funny. So Matthew likes to
Well,
play in the mud.
sure, yeah. Um, so Matthew likes to play in the mud. That's who I'm playing with, I guess. This time I was on my own,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, the first take that we did, so I was supposed to come in and duck down behind this car because there's gunfire and everything. And I actually slid. I actually slipped genuinely and just like flew into this car. And I've got like two cameras around my
Yeah.
neck. And everybody was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I was like, "No, that was great. That was good." Just getting lost in it. It was a lot of fun. So I'd love to do more stuff like that.
So your oops stayed in. It's not a oops.
I'm not sure if they'll use it, but it was, but yeah, it was just it was the closest I've come to because I wasn't even I couldn't see where the cameras were either. So it
Okay.
was kind because that's the thing when people watch something on TV, they see the acting and
Mm-hmm.
they don't realize that a lot of the time there might be a camera right there, and you
Right.
can't not notice it. It's
Right.
like
Right. Right.
much
Right.
as you lose yourself in it, it's like no, you know it's there. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
like right brain, left brain kind of thing.
Right.
Um,
So I'm thinking you're oops. You're doing your own stunts now.
it's a funny thing that you always want to sort of be that team play guy that's does his own stunts like Tom Cruise or something like
Right.
that.
Right. Right.
The truth is sometimes if you have a professional who's that's what they're there for, but they know what to do and they're going to make it look better, then
Right.
sometimes it's
Right.
better to bow out and say, okay, I did actually, and I did a movie called Surrogate Scandal, which came out this year, at the beginning of the year, and there's a scene I fall in the pool, and the stunt guy did it first, and then I did it. So we had both, but I think we ended up. I think it's just me doing it in the end. But they do it so that they have a safety. So
Where 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 can we see this? Or maybe
Surrogate
people.
Scandal was on Lifetime. It aired at the same night as the Oscars, actually.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Surrogate stand.
Surrogate Scandal, yeah, but
Oh.
Surrogate Scandal, and it had yeah, a few people in that I've never worked with before, but um, yeah. So no, it's an excellent movie. It's great.
We're gonna have to go look it up. I missed it. I don't know how I missed it. I'll
Mhm.
look. You're
Well, the
supposed
Oscars were on, so
you're supposed to post this stuff on social media, did
I
you?
did. I did. I
Oh, I
posted.
missed it. I fell down on the job.
Yeah.
I'll look.
Let's check.
We'll go back.
Okay.
Now, Dream Moms is a Hallmark movie, isn't it? On Mother's Day, right?
Yeah, I think it's airing 13th of May.
And that would be here in the States. What about on the W network in Canada? Will it be airing there? Usually it is.
Yeah, I don't know about Canada. Because sometimes what happens it airs in the US and then it airs in Canada later. So I don't know.
Next
I have
week.
to
Well,
check. But
usually it's like the next week. I'll look into it. So
yeah.
tell us what you can tease about Dream Moms. Who's in there with you?
Well, Dream Moms, it is Tamara Mary Housley and Chelsea Hobbs, who this is my third time working with Chelsea. Although she didn't realize it was the third time, she only thought it was the second time because she didn't realize that I was in Martha's Vineyard Mysteries in the same episode, but we didn't have any scenes together.
Okay.
But yeah, we did Holiday Sitter together with Jonathan Bennett,
Love
where we played
him.
a couple. And in this movie, yeah, it's a really fun movie. So it's about two moms who had dreams of Broadway, and then life kind of took over, and they get a chance to enter a TV talent show, and they kind of team up, and it's a lot of fun. And I play Sam, the next door neighbor. So could he be a love interest for Chelsea? We don't
Oh.
have to see. Would have to have a look to
Do you
find
get to sing and dance?
Not on this one,
Oh,
no.
all
No.
right.
Even though it's a musical, I'm not doing the singing and dancing.
Okay.
That I leave to Tamara and Chelsea. So,
Okay.
and it was directed by Jessica Harmon, who you might know. Jessica was in The 100 and iZombie, and she's a very
Mm.
talented
Love
actor.
iZombie. Love
And
iZombie.
she's an incredible director as well. So it was my first time being directed by her. She was great.
I love that. That's something a little different, like a little twist.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Well, lots of stuff. You're gonna be all over the place. And then I hope there's no drought. You won't see. I'm only kidding. No, there won't be. I'm joking. It'll be fun. All right. So singing and dancing. Let me something I think the Instagram account, Rise of the Pink Ladies had this, but took it off of yours. So I'm going to show everyone really quickly. Not that they haven't seen it, but we're going to talk about this amazing scene right here. It was so good. Her reaction.
It's honestly the first day because I came out, we did a makeup test, and the first day I just came out, and everybody's reaction on set to me was that was so much fun because coming out, I was just kind of looking at people and like standing still it was very, very entertaining for me because people were coming, like I could see people coming around the corner. Their friends had obviously told them to go and have a look at the makeup.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
I knew you were in this episode. I had seen it in the database a while back, right? So I was like, "Oh, I wonder who." I'm trying to think. A parent of never in 1 million years, even though I know this is a musical, did I
Yeah,
expect this. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. I'm eating ice cream, and here's me. What? I had to put it down, and I'm like, "Is that him?" I had
really
to get
know it was
close
right.
to
Okay.
your voice, though. And you know what? I had flashbacks to. I had flashbacks to when you would sing and dance and like with the magician, the
Oh yeah,
whole your magic show.
yeah.
So I was like, "Oh." Now, did you know this? Like, did you know that you would be singing and well, of course you know.
Yeah.
Tell us the whole story. Tell us how you even got the
So
part.
it was. I see some of the comments saying it looked like so much fun. It really was. It was a whole because the thing is, it came in and I was asked to give it like they wanted like a Sinatra kind of swing vibe to it.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I was talking to the creator, because the song was written by Justin Tranter, who writes for
Yes.
songs for Justin Bieber and Lady Gaga and things like that. So
Yes. He's amazing.
yeah. So first of all, the fact to just be asked to do it by somebody like that for me was just incredible. It's such an honor. Um, but when they said a swing vibe, I thought, that's my jam. I'm a huge Rat Pack fan and that kind of thing. So and I used to sing some of that kind of stuff anyway. Um, so we worked out the key that was best for a voice, and then
Mhm.
I worked on the song, various aspects of it, and taking the lyrics and trying to make some of the just how I was going to sing it. And then I went to the studio, which I think was Brian Adams' studio, and they'd recorded with a
Oh.
big band the backing. So I've got photos of me with the headphones and in the
Mhm.
studio. Um, and then recording the song, and that was recording the song over a day. And then that song then goes off to get approved and everything like that. And then it was 4 days of dance rehearsals with
Wow.
Jamal Sims and his team, who's the choreographer on RuPaul's Drag Race, and
Mhm.
also he's choreographed for J Lo and everybody's such a talented group of people. And what was nice was they encouraged. I think they did this with other people as well. They encourage you to bring your own bits to it, like sort of
Mhm.
and I'm not saying a lot, like, I'm not going to start taking credit for choreography, but it's little things like there's something I think I did in my audition, which was this kind of thing, which is what
Yeah.
Bobby Darin used to do. because he was on
Yes.
TV and he had to read lyrics from his hand. I don't know if you know this.
Oh.
He was doing this, it's because he was reading the lyrics from his hand. And I kind of did that in the audition, and in the scene when it turned into kind of like a thing.
Mhm.
But there's another thing I mentioned to them because we have a thing with cigars. And
Mhm.
I said, guys, I don't know if you know, but I used to be a magician. And they were like, what? I said, so what if I used to spin the wand in my fingers? What if I did that
Mhm.
with a cigar? And they were like, yes, yes. And
Mhm.
I said, and when it says all your trouble's done, and I don't know if you saw this, but did you notice the cigar disappear?
No.
You rewatch the scene, you'll see the scar goes, all your trouble's done, and it disappears. Then my hand comes up and it's gone. And it goes by very quickly. But I said, wouldn't that be fun if when I said all your trouble's done,
Yes.
I was gone? So they were like, yeah. And we had a special, not a special cigar, but like a stronger cigar made for me so that I
Mhm.
related and things like that. And a few other little things that I had to change around so I could do the trick. But the choreographers were amazing, and they were so easy to work with and follow. So and I noticed somebody mentioned, did I have formal singing and dancing training? I haven't had dancing training. I've done some dance, but I did have classical music training when I was a kid. But
Sure.
so then and then it was 2 days of filming. So I was lip syncing to my own recording and on set, and the makeup took 3 hours. So sat in the makeup chair.
There's so much to talk about. So,
Okay.
Marissa, you and Marissa, you did not record together because she's singing too, or no?
Well, she doesn't sing in the song.
Oh, she does before okay,
Yeah,
that's correct.
yeah.
All right.
So yeah, so she says hello, and the as she's what she's listening to is it's actually myself and the other dancers going, when you're in the club.
Yes, yes, yes.
I did one at the end. The last one I did like a when you're in the club, like a darker one.
Yes.
So then yeah, she's kind of in this dream state, and yeah, so it was just we were recording it all together. So yeah.
Now, the dancing, so, that that I don't know. I think the dancing in the show altogether is amazing. So in the episode prior, there was a mom scene, and I had the moms come on and talk about the dancing. One of the things that they had shared with us, which was a wow for them, was there's a set of dancers, skeleton, is that what they were called? The skeleton dancers, where they actually, is that what they were called? Something like that. They actually had knew every single dance number in the entire
Wow.
series. They
Right.
knew it, and then they would perform it and show off and do whatever, and I was like, "What in the world?" There's, like, talented people all over the place. Alright, so there you were dancing, and it took how many days to do this?
4 days of rehearsal, 4 days, and also the dancers that I was working with, my sort of well, I mean, you can't really say backup dancers, but they were. There was, funnily enough, I did a movie called Second Chance at Love, um,
Mhm.
where I played a choreographer. Funnily enough, which I filmed at this earlier on in the year.
Right,
I
right.
went from not having done any dance really, so suddenly I was playing a choreographer and I was dancing. And one of the choreographers who helped me we worked on to come up with something for the movie was one of the backup dancers in Pink Ladies behind me.
Oh,
And what was great was it was just such a collection. And there was one guy, Jim, who's in his 80s, and he has been around doing dancing for as long as since he was a kid. And he actually
mhm.
danced with Gene Kelly. So for me, I was like, because Gene Kelly is like
Yes.
so.
Yes.
Um,
Wow.
but yeah, no, such a talented group. I mean, you're just surrounded by talent on that show. It's incredible.
It was a great scene. The makeup. So the the makeup. Did they, like, slather that on? It was, like, crazy. Did it
It,
feel like, how's it feel, like, if you sing in a movie, and does it cake up or no?
well, no, the hair specifically, they put this thing on that when you touch your hair, it doesn't feel like hair anymore. It's like cement.
Okay,
It's
okay.
literally just glued down, and it's weird to touch it. And they washed it off afterwards. They had to, so I was in the makeup trailer afterwards for quite a while afterwards. But they literally, I think, I have a picture maybe from it, but they had like a test shot that they were working towards. Um, and what happened was we all had a photo taken in the sort of portrait
Mhm.
frame. and then an artist obviously went and then painted that, and then that was used as a reference kind of thing to then the very talented makeup artist who then recreated to make us look like the painting. So, and then the clothes as well and everything, and there's shots of us, touching us up just to make sure. And yeah, so 3 hours in the makeup chair. That was, I think I did that 2 or 3 times, maybe twice. But yeah, but again, a lot of fun. So
I know, something totally different. It was a great scene. I had to keep watching it back and forth. Now I have to go back now watch it for the little the magic trick at the end with the cigar, which is kind of cool. I love it. It was really, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, he has to come on and talk to us about this."
my,
This
my
was so
favorite
cool.
bit actually is when the doors open.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you know, would you be loved no matter
I
who it was?
Oh,
Oh,
the song itself. I know that it's like a whole they have a whole album. Is that one on included?
it's on Spotify, yeah.
It
So, and
is.
that's
Okay.
exciting as well to see, performed by,
Yes.
thing. And the lyrics are obviously, if you were just to listen to the lyrics out of context,
Uh-huh.
um, and I think Justin Tranter did a video when he was going over the
Yes.
lyrics, and he said this is
Yes.
not to be sung by a pop star. This is very contextual, and it basically highlights what she's feeling. So she's in this dream state, and it's kind of her conscience, essentially.
Right.
The fact that she knows that all of the people that she can see working there, that it's this whole this well, as the song says, as long as you're not Jewish, Asian, brown, or black, all those things.
Right,
So she's
straight, rich.
yeah, and the fact that her family, as Justin pointed out, you know, she's not, her family heritage isn't just Caucasian white. So it's like the fact that they pretend, the mother's trying to get into this club, and she's not being true to herself, and the guilt, conscience, especially that she has friends who aren't white as well. So yeah, it was, and there was an issue when I took on the role, and my agent was like, I was like, I'll be fine. It's like, just, because it's not like we're saying that, we're pointing out the problem.
Yes.
And then,
Well, when Justin did a little video, you could see it on YouTube, and he said it was the most ridiculous song, like lyrics ever. And
yeah,
he said the whole time he kept saying, "I'm gonna go to jail. I'm gonna go to jail for
I'm gonna get
this."
cancelled for this, but yeah,
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 you
yeah,
have
yeah.
to push
But
on to realize,
yeah. No, it's the time, it's the point. You know what I mean? It is absolutely the point of the whole show, actually.
Well,
So
Annabelle Oakes, the fantastic showrunner, she
yes.
actually said that Greece was it was in the 70s, looking back at the 50s.
Hmm.
Now we're in the 2020s, looking back at the 70s view of the 50s,
Yes. Yes.
and what that means to people nowadays. And it's a very interesting topic when you think of the different filters that what's happening now, that people in 20, 30 years will look back now and say, oh, that was
Mm.
this and that. So yeah, it's an interesting thing.
The whole thing, like, sometimes I get angry about what I see, and then sometimes I laugh, and I'm like, "Ah," like, it's just it reminds me of I was saying, um, who is it that I was talking to? Oh, Todd Thompson, who plays Buddy Aldrich.
Okay.
No, Buddy Aldrich's father, Mr. Aldrich. He was talking, and we were saying how it's like Mad Men when that came on,
Oh
when
yeah.
I was, like, so angry, I couldn't watch it, I wouldn't watch it, and then, of course, I was addicted and couldn't put it away. This is, of course, a little lighter and more fun because of the singing and the dancing, although they did have a dance routine in one episode of Mad Men, but still, I'm like, "Gosh, that time, thank God I wasn't born then. I would have been Jane in trouble."
A song and a dance can always make you forget anything. There was one of my favorite comedians who sadly passed away quite young, a guy called Sean Locke, and he had a whole bit where he talked about the old club comics, who what they would do, they would tell an awfully off-color joke.
Mhm.
You'll all, but then they'd go, fly me to the moon. They'd refresh you with a song,
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
horrible joke, and then feelings. No,
Like,
So
they be okay to do, and like, oh gosh, the things you get away with. So this has been lovely. Before you go, I wanted to just share some things. This is funny. Janice saying, "Am I allowed to say I'm sure it was better than the Oscars?"
you're allowed to say whatever.
You want. She was also, you addressed this already, but I wanted to remind Jan that the first time you were ever on my podcast, we talked about your training. So she could go back and she could catch it and she could see you telling all the little details about that.
I mean, the short version is that I was a choir boy at Durham Cathedral, which was like a choristership. So it was like a choral school, so a music school. So I had training there, and then in senior school, I continued the training through, and then so that was my musical training. And I did violin and piano and things like that. But dancing, no. But I have rhythm, and I think I'm a good mimic, and I can, if I'm shown something, I can do it. So and I think Dick Van Dyke said he didn't get into
Mhm.
dancing until very late, and when he found it, he was like, "Where's this been all my life?" So
Right, right, right.
yeah, I haven't had any formal training, but when I watch something, and if I just, it's like magic. I find with magic, it's just repetition, repetition until you.
Mhm. Mm.
So not that I'm saying it's
No,
not
no.
on the level of the dancers here in the,
Yes,
but I
yes.
just yeah.
But it wasn't supposed to be all that wild because you were, men, upper crust men strutting around, right? So, yeah. Not some, you weren't the T-birds. Oh, Robin said, great singing. Yes, great. Although you could be great singing and dancing.
Thank you very much.
And Lillian said, that makeup was so great. I did recognize you. You have an amazing voice.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you. And you can hear, like I say, you can hear the song on Spotify as well. And if you type in Matthew J. Dowden, just with a J, I have an album actually on Spotify called Music of the Movies, which was the songs that I used to do, some of the songs I used to do in my movie show on the ships,
Yes.
but also some extra ones. They're all movie stuff. So,
Because I recognized the J. That's what you would use. That was like 10 years ago or something,
oh, yeah.
right?
You know,
That's all right. That's fun. We're gonna have to look it up. Rona says, "Great makeup. I didn't even realize it was you."
hmm,
She has to watch again. And then Robin saying, "Yes, the makeup was so amazing in that scene, and such talented cast and crew."
so talented. A wonderful director as well was Diego Velasco. He's such a nice guy as well. And yeah, what was nice was his excitement of seeing the scene come together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And all started to come because you're always taking a risk when you have a vision of how it's going to go.
Mhm.
And I remember when I read the script of that scene, I was like, of that episode, and I was like, how are they going to pull this off? And just to see it come to life was pretty great.
Now, what's Pam says, loving this interview. Thank you, Matthew, for all you do. And love your British accent too.
Thank you. I have to remember to do it because, believe it or not, when I usually in over here, I kind of live in an American accent because it
Sure.
makes it, when I have to audition for things, I'm mostly American, so it's easier to stay in it. But so it might dip in and out now and then, in and out.
It's all
So
right. That's okay.
thank
That's
you.
you. That's
Glad
who you
you
are. I forget, someone over here was asking, and you did touch on this. They wanted to know about the audition, like how you auditioned. Did you did did they look for you or did you look for them? How did that work?
Well, they were looking for, so yeah, there was an audition process.
Right.
They asked for, there was, I think it was, they actually asked for like 60 seconds of Fly Me to the Moon. Uh,
Okay.
and also they sent some choreography that Jamal had put together that you then had to learn so that you, and they said that the focus for this one was mostly the singing,
Yeah.
but they said they wanted to see if you can move, etc. So that was quite a thing actually, because the choreography, um, you learn something and it looks, you do it slowly, but you don't realize how fast some of the moves are until you actually have to do it. And so, yeah, I had to send that and send some of me singing. And I actually, for the audition, I put on a full tuxedo because they were a swing, and I did the
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah. Yeah.
Really. So.
Oh, that was good. It was good. We loved it so much. All right, so this is a good one to end with. Robin's saying she can't wait to see your upcoming movies. You're an amazing actor, singer, and dancing, and keep up the good work.
Well,
Isn't that a good one to end with?
what a nice comment to finish with. Yeah, I'll take that. I will always
Thank
say that.
you,
That's thank you
Robin.
very
Yeah. All right, Matthew. Thank you for taking time to talk with us.
much. Again, it's always nice to chat to you. You're so
Yeah.
easy to chat to, and you're a wonderful interviewer. So thank you very much for that.
Aw. So you have a good night because I know it's like dinner time around you. Here by me, we're getting close to 9 o'clock, but we're going to recap the episode now. My co-host is Christina. She's going to join us. We're all saying thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Nice to see you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Okay, dokie. Look,
Right.
host. Hello, Miss Christina.
Hello. I
So
love his voice.
I know he's wonderful. So those who may not know this, but I have a famous co-host here with me. This is Christina, and Christina is actually you are the person who started the Chris McNally fan group, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And what do we have? Almost 10,000. Right? I'll just say 10.
Yeah.
Just round
Almost.
to 10K.
I think when when people start getting to watch the grease and stuff and know that there's a fan group, I'm hoping that
Yeah, moral
the
joy.
word will get out there.
Yes.
See my shirt?
Yes. Look at your shirt. It's so cute with Mr. Daniels on
Mr.
there.
Daniels, he's such a bad guy.
I love it. Okay, so this is a chance if anybody wants to run and get a drink or use the bathroom and hurry up, get back. I'm going to talk about just the layout. So Christina and I are going to recap episode 3. A lot went down in episode 3. And then I always do a little bit of 50s pop culture. So we're going to talk a little bit about music. And then we are spotlighting Mr. Daniels. Yes, we are aware he is not in this episode, but we have something to say about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Some Robin saying great pink lady jackets. Thank you.
Yes.
Yours looks more pink than mine does, but it's just the lighting.
Oh yeah, I think it's just the lighting.
So we got ours off of Amazon, right?
Yeah, I think they're just like costumes, basically.
Yes. But they're actually nice.
And yeah, they're really comfortable.
Chris has one too, and she's actually a sewer. So she's sewing a
line. She's lining it and making pockets.
I know, because see, this is, I'm not a pocket fan. Everybody else is.
It's really thin, but it's comfortable.
So think pink friends. Oh, that's cute. So they love the t-shirt. You made the t-shirt, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, she did. Look at that. Oh my, I'm a little jealous. All right, so let's dive in. Let's talk about this episode. So you could tell me, what was something that you really liked or it stood out to you?
Well, it was the introduction of Hazel.
Yes.
I loved her as a character.
Me too.
Felt so bad for her, because she just was like so sad at the beginning. Yeah. But then she kind of was kind of getting out of her shell a little bit.
Yes.
But I really, really loved her scene where she was singing with the stars.
Yes.
And how you could see somebody lifting her up.
Yeah.
But the person was in black and just blended in with the stars. And it was really cool. It was the choreography and that was just awesome. And her voice and the song. I love the song. Yeah, it was. That was my favorite part, I think.
It's beautiful, and we get to know who she is, and you get to see how smart she is, but then you also have a little bit of a broken heart for her.
Yeah. I think later on in the season, I think she's going to start coming out of herself. I was talking to Chris today, and I said, she kind of reminds me of the Sandra Dee in the Grease movie, where she just came into the town. She's new. Mm-hmm. And she's the smart one, and and everybody just kind of she's like the wallflower of the group, and then I think later on she's gonna start,
coming out.
blossoming, coming out.
There's this really cool scene at the end where you don't realize that they're neighbors, she and Buddy, and they have
Yes.
this little conversation. And Buddy is a really nice kid. He
Yeah,
really is.
he is.
And he's very accepting of everyone, and he's very like honest when he talks, like even to the point where he wasn't honest about bragging about that he went all the way with Jane.
Right,
But
right.
but he admitted that. Everything
Yeah,
else he admits, and he'll go like, "Yeah, that's what guys do," or "I did it because of my dad." And Hazel says to him, "Did you really believe all the things that you said?" And he's like, "No." And she goes, "Then why did you say them? Do you realize how hurtful and horrible they were?" And
yeah,
he's like, "Yeah." And like, so it's almost like she's his voice, like his conscience. And
yeah.
do you think that there might be something that could go on between them secretly?
I think, yes, I think, and I think that's going to be a whole story in itself.
Yeah.
But I noticed like with Buddy, the after Jane got, she wasn't talking in the debate, and he like came up to her and said, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
I mean, he was concerning, still for her.
Mhm.
And that just showed to me that, he's nice. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
They're just in competition, and I think he's just hearing from his friends, and he's got to kind of show off a little bit, but I
And he
think
has
that's pretty much what it is.
and a bit of pressure from his
Yeah,
dad.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The pressure
Like,
from his dad.
I can't quit because my
Talk.
dad's yeah, we gotta be, and we're both leaders. We gotta have leadership in the
Right.
family.
Yeah.
Martha was saying, I agree, Christina. Hazel will come out of her shell and she will be a pink lady.
I think so too. Like I said, I think she's like the Sandra D in the movie.
All right. I kind of I can see it. I agree
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Chris is saying, I think Hazel and Buddy will end up being secret roof buddies. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. Yeah, secret meetings on the roof. Yeah.
And she has an interesting conversation with Wally where when they finally talk to each other,
Yeah.
and he's teasing her and he says, "I hope you're not getting wrapped up in with the pink ladies." And she's like, "Why?" And he goes, "Because of danger." And she almost like, "Well, it's exciting." He goes, "Yeah, but when you're in trouble, that's almost the first time they really talked about race." He goes, "Not for us. It could mean
Yeah.
something totally different." And then she's like, "Well, look at your friends." And he's like, "They've been my friends since kindergarten and going to the club." And she's like, "That dance, do you really want to go to that dance, or do you go because everybody's there? Like, how
Right.
excited
Yeah.
are you really?" And he kind of sits back and he starts thinking. And I loved how she was that voice for Jane. I feel like she's everyone's conscience, where
Right.
she says to Jane, you know, not everybody wants to go to this dance, and it makes her think. And then Jane at the Frosty Palace, and everyone's like, "Yeah, it's not our dance, we don't really want to go." And she's like, "Oh, change my platform."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
and
know.
another thing, I really loved the Buddy and her singing at the Frosty Palace.
I'm going to add, while you're talking, go ahead. I'm going to add some of those scenes.
Oh
There's
yeah.
get to meet Hazel, and I will get back to that. But
But
there
yeah,
they
I loved the scene at the Frosty Palace where they were singing together, and I loved the song.
Yeah, me too. Look at
Yeah.
that. That's just one of the things. I thought that the whole choreography, the things that they had to say, the whole thing was good. I liked
Yeah.
it. And I like how it's definitely a musical where you have to pay attention to what the lyrics are,
Yes.
because that's replacing the dialogue, right?
Right.
But I don't know about you. Do you do this? I have to watch the scene just to enjoy it. Then I got to go back and I have to watch it for the
Yeah,
dancing, and
I
like
do.
and then I have to
I watch it first, and then I like, soak it all in, and then I go back and I watch it again. And sometimes even, 2, 3 times.
me too. And then I have to go put on the closed caption because I'm like, what's that? What's it saying? That like the lyrics for the song that with on Matthew when he's out there, and the
Yes,
things that they say are so bad.
I know. It is. Yeah.
So bad. Jan is saying, I wonder if they will become a mixed race couple. Perhaps that will come out during the dance.
Yeah,
Oh,
and Chris and I was talking about this earlier too, and we were saying, back in those days, the mixed, couples, that was not, it was frowned upon. It was a big deal back then.
Chris, you and I were little girls in the 70s and that stuff didn't happen.
Oh yeah.
It was hard for that.
Oh yeah. People hit it so often. It was.
Yeah. Robin says that was a great scene for sure, and the song was perfect for what is happening overall. And what's Arlene saying? I wanted to know who Hazel was talking to on the phone in her bedroom. Thought it was like a girlfriend.
I think it was like a friend from like her other school or where she was living from before.
Right. And then she had to hang up because she's like her little brother or somebody was in the
Yeah.
background. And she was like, oh, well, just long distance. I'll have to get used to it. And she's all excited to talk. And then she got cut off from there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Rona pointed out something. You were correct. It wasn't even legal in those days.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Yeah. Wasn't.
yeah, very, very true.
So yeah, they hit it. If they did it, they hit it very much so, because parents definitely were, would have been against it.
So let's talk a little bit about Cynthia and her storyline.
Oh, Cynthia, she is, oh my gosh, I love her. She's so funny.
When they were putting their signs up, when they were dancing in the Frosty Palace, I think that's where it was. But the girls had the signs up where it says vote for Jane, and she has hers on her butt. She turns around and puts it on her behind.
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah,
this is how they're working this out. So this character here, some of people are thinking maybe something will happen between the two of them. Do you think that will?
I think yes.
And it looks like they kind of don't like each other, and
yes.
they but I like how Cynthia challenges her, because she's like, oh, I will get the lead. But I know that's from the newest episode, but just her attitude in general when Cynthia comes and she frightens her because she makes her look inside of herself.
Oh yeah, when she goes, "You're scared."
Yes.
She goes, "You're scared." It was so funny.
It was good. And then look here, when she did that whole boop scene.
Yeah.
It was really good, but it was so heartfelt. And I was like, oh, wow. Because I don't know if it was Nancy or who said to her, just go and they're goofy. Just go and act.
Just go with the flow.
Yeah. So wait a minute. So she does that beautiful scene, and then she runs behind the two girls. And then when she's there by herself, she says, what is it? Boop or something like that.
Yeah. She goes,
and she gives her the finger.
I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so feisty.
Oh my God. I mean, this is definitely not PG.
Yes.
I can't.
No, definitely not.
What is this? I wanted to know. No, somebody just had something. Oh, here it is. Robin says she is hilarious and so talented in her role. I love her voice. She's my favorite voice. And her voice is so like, I don't know. It's beautiful. It's very much feminine. And she is not that at all.
No, she's not.
And that just makes her as a human. Well, actually, Ari is the actor's name, and Ari likes to use him, he, or they, and them.
Yes.
And he has just this gorgeous voice. And then the dance moves, like the whole thing, so complex as a human, but also as in this character, channeling all in there, which makes it, I don't know, very fascinating. I want more of that storyline. I want more of Cynthia's storyline. I'm very much interested in her home life. Do you remember the episode? What was it? Episode 2 it was, when they all had the phones and they were hanging up on their, so the call wouldn't come through. And did you see Cynthia was getting dinner and bringing it to it? I feel like whoever her grown-up is, he or she is much older. And sickly. Did you get that or no?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
I know. Arlene's asking us a question before we move on to the next part. And she says, was Hazel from DC? She had a Howard U pennant on her wall. Mixed couples were around in parts of DC then and Baltimore, which is true. You were right. Maybe it's something she's going to aspire to go to. Maybe she wants to go to that college.
Yeah,
I don't know if they ever said where she was from.
I don't know.
Maybe that'll come a little bit at a time. We'll get to see. Cindy saying she was wondering about her home life too. Cynthia is the only girl who'd ride a motorcycle in a skirt.
Yeah.
She's so funny. I love her.
I love the part with her and Nancy drunk
Uh-huh.
when they were drinking. Oh my gosh, Nancy's another one who just cracks me up. Her expressions and oh my gosh, she's just hilarious.
What about when they all arrive and they're in the hallway and the vice principal comes along, and I'm pretty sure it's this episode, because sometimes by the time we go to recap, the next one has come out. But I love her reaction when she goes to talk to all of them, and then she calls her Nancy by her last name, and she stops in mid sentence because she's dressed as like black snake stuff
Yeah.
on her. And she like looks at her. That actress,
Right.
they both together, they share a scene, are amazing. They should come on and talk with us.
Oh yeah, the both of them together, that would be great. They are. I love them. They're so funny.
What do you think about when so Jane's there with her family and that whole club scene and that that wonderful scene comes on? What do you think? Like, did you get angry at the mom because she was trying to be something else, or did you kind of feel for her?
Yeah, I kind of did, but then I kind of no, I figured out like why she was trying to be like that, basically. Yeah. I mean, she explained that whatever I'm doing for your family. I'm doing for you and Frenchie.
Right.
And so I mean,
well, what I thought was interesting was it opens with that party that her family is hosting, and the father's a businessman and he's trying to make connections.
Yeah.
This is how they get to have the debate televised, right? And the woman, the I can't think of the guy's name that he was playing, the one who has the show, and his wife was there, and she makes a cake that's a meat cake, a rip it like and French, she tastes it and she screams because she thought it was cake.
Yeah, who would do that to a person?
And then she's upset because her mother is like Puerto Rican, and then she gets cut off about that. And so simplistic because she is still young. It's the next morning and she's like, what did I say that was wrong? It looks like a cake and it's something else. You're pretending that you're not Puerto Rican. I don't even know. Like, what do I call my grandmother? You know what I mean? Like, which, and so she's like, well, what? The mother says something along the lines about, it's not important. It's not anything they want to know. Why would we do it? She goes, so they know.
Yeah.
And like, she just doesn't get it. I love it. I thought, oh, wow.
Whoever plays Frenchie, whoever plays the actress, she must have like really tried to study the Frenchie from Greece because she does it so well.
She's spot on. We have to have her on too.
Yeah, the accent and everything. I mean, it's just like, wow.
I love it. I know. I love every time she talks. I'm like, I see the grown-up French.
I do too. That's what I'm saying. She must have really had to study.
Yes.
The other Frenchie, because she does the part really well. And
Arlene's saying that nasty ribbon cake. I looked them up. I'm gonna make one, but I'm gonna make a good one. Are there any good ribbon cakes? It was so gross. Like the tuna casserole that was sort of like in gelatin. I'm like, what did you people eat?
I know.
Yeah. I wonder you're always at the Frosty Palace having fries and a milkshake. Robin says, I do think the scene with Hazel on the long distance call where the other party had to go, I believe there will be more to that in the story. per her background. Okay, like we'll get even maybe another phone conversation that she has, and that's how we'll learn more. And Jan is saying that she can see both sides of Jane's mom's attitude. You know what I loved at the end when they do the rematch debate and they're singing and dancing, and that's when Buddy falls and gets hurt. The mom is there and she's like, Mom, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm coming to pick up dinner. And she
Yeah.
stops and she watches what and listens because her daughter says, like, they're like, well, who are you? And she's like, half Puerto Rican, half Italian. And she just says all the things all the girls are going through. We represent everybody. And the
Mhm.
mother smiles as she
Yeah.
leaves. So she's proud of her daughter. Like
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got the feeling Jane's mom felt a little uncomfortable at the club. She wouldn't give her coat to the worker, right? Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Chris is saying, I want to watch the movie Grease in order to see if there are any references either way, even though the prequel didn't exist. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm just looking at what I want to make sure we've got. Like, then Jan is talking with Elaine saying, I wasn't sure if Jane's mom was nervous or felt bad because she felt bad for the quote unquote servants, right? Like maybe you know what? Tanya's on here. She definitely noticed, and I think she was realizing like what was wrong with what she was doing, even though she had to do that because it could backfire. She wants her husband to be successful, like, so I get it, but then I also get why it's wrong.
Mhm.
That she has to be a fake Italian to get in the club, and they
Yeah.
really didn't even want Italians. They called them Italians. Oh, that unnerves me.
I
It was probably not that long before that time when Italian wouldn't be. Yeah, exactly. They even said that we have more Italians now. But then I love when I forget who says it, which daughter says, if they knew what part of Italy your family was from, they'd really not accept you. So that tells me they're Sicilian, which is
Yeah.
what my family is.
I noticed that too. I caught that.
We are from southern Italy and we are Sicilian in my family, which is funny. Oh gosh. So what else? What else should we discuss? Anyone out there have something that they want us to share or they want to share with us?
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about the
Pop
cultures back
culture?
in
Right.
the
We
50s.
will. That we could do that right next, but I was just wondering if anybody had anything else storyline wise.
Oh, on the show itself, yeah.
Wait, Arlene, I love this. Jane was feeling her chica roots at Olivia's house. Oh, that was good. Yes. But that's not in this one. I think it's the next episode. It's episode 4, I think. So yeah. There was a comment about allowing Italians in for the 5 years now. Yes, you are right. That's what they were kind of new. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to, let's see, I think I covered most of the big things that I wanted to discuss. I have to tell you, I loved the whole episode, but I really, really loved the idea of the scene Matthew was in. I loved how they did the scene. They had such terrible things to say, and saying it in a song, like Matthew was saying, kind of made it okay, but
Yeah.
really not. Oh gosh. All right, let's talk about Jane and Richie kiss. Oh yeah, they did. I know.
I knew that was happening.
I know. We knew that. I have a
Yeah.
question for everybody before we move on. How can we go to a second season? Where do we go from there except Richie, who is a junior, most of the characters, we know he's a junior, and I'm sure there's a few more that are juniors, like maybe Potato is, I'm not sure. But the rest of them, the 4 girls, they're all seniors. So I had some ideas. I'm thinking maybe when this series, the season 1 ends, it's like half of the school year or a piece of the school year, and then season 2 would be the rest of the school year. Do you know what I mean? They could do it that way,
or it could be like Frenchie with her friends.
It
Could be like season 2.
Yeah,
maybe that's why they have Frenchie in there. She might be ruling the other pink ladies, in season 2.
And I know people are saying it depends how the season ends. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
How
Yeah. You never know.
where I'm wondering, they keep talking about the election. A lot has gone down in just a few weeks. So I'm wondering if this whole thing is about the election. It'll end with the election, but it'll still be early on in the school year, and season 2 can pick up with the more of the because
Who do you
there's
think's going to win, Buddy or Jane?
I don't know. What do you all think, peoples?
Yeah.
I really think that it's going to be Buddy. I don't think it'll be Jane. I think it's going to be Buddy, and then I
Yeah.
think we're going to see a change in Buddy. But then
Yeah.
again,
I think so too.
what if it is Buddy, and then Buddy's whole secret relationship with Hazel gets exposed? Then that would cause for them to, yeah. People are all saying Jane. Yes,
Oh, really?
there are 10 episodes, Robin. Everyone's saying Jane, Jane, Jane. Has there been an official discussion about a season 2? Yes and no. I've had an actor say to me something about a possible storyline for season 2, which makes me think there would be a season 2. But I don't know.
I think there is. I think there is going to be.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Well, what did Tanya say? Matthew is such a wonderful actor and even a nicer guy, so generous with fans. Well, Tanya, yes, you're preaching to the choir here. You should have said that to him when he was here. Should have spoken up.
Yeah, he is. He's a really nice guy.
A lot of people are saying, now they're saying Buddy, and they're going back and forth, like it could go either way kind of thing. And it's true. There's wonderful storylines for either part.
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of stories going on there, and I think that's why a season 2 could,
yeah,
could go on.
And I don't want to I feel like we hear so much about Jane, more so than the rest, but I really want to hear more about the others. And before we get into that, let's see what Cindy says. Does anyone know how the ratings have been? That usually determines if there's another season.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
All right, we give you a pass, Tanya. We give you a pass. But you know what? Matthew watches stuff. He'll probably see what you wrote. Does anyone know about the ratings? No, but we can look them up and we can find out. And that's a good thing to check and look into. Maybe next week we'll talk about that. All right, Christina, I know you did some research. This is our little pop culture.
Yes, I did do some research.
Music.
Well, actually, I was looking up, and they said the number one pop hit back in those days was "Rock Around the Clock."
Yep.
That was one of the top songs back then. And Elvis Presley, of course, he.
Do you know Elvis Presley's career started in 1954?
Yes.
And his big song, I think it was Jailhouse Rock, was it? That came out. Was it Jailhouse Rock? I have to look at my notes. That was 1955, but his career just started. But here's what's interesting about this. His record company, let's see, where are my notes? When they came out, they wanted more African American type music. I thought, well, this is ironic. Here we are. We don't even have civil rights.
Yeah.
And, I guess because for dancing purposes or something like that. I don't know.
Well, they said that in the 1950s, that's when it dominated by the birth of rock and roll.
Yep.
And they wanted to change rock and roll with adding a little bit R&B.
Yes.
And rhythm and blues and country. They kind of wanted a unique sound, and that's what it just came about in the 1950s.
It was Sun Records. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So now 1954, I asked Alexa, I can't say it because if I do, that'll go off. I asked what was the number one song in 1954, and it was a ballad, and it was by a woman named Kitty Callan, and it was "Little Things Mean a Lot." And the words are beautiful because it talks about looking across the room when he walks by, and he touches her hair, but just brushes her
Yeah.
hair when she's sitting. I was like, oh, well, this is like a very romantic, creepy kind of song.
A very romantic, creepy kind of song. Yeah. Some of the stuff back then was, but I don't know. I just know that, like, my neighbor next door, he freaks me out because he will work on his car and he plays these music. I mean, Buddy Holly, Bing Crosby, Chuck Berry. He's out there, and I'm while like laying out in the sun, I'm hearing all this stuff. It's like, and it's like all new to me. You know, some of it's new to me, some of it's like, oh yeah, I know this song.
Yeah.
But yeah, and going back to like in research and looking at all these songs, I'm like, oh gosh, yes, I do remember this song. It's our neighbor's favorite. He's out there always whistling it and singing it. But it's funny.
Gosh, we have some great comments before we get into our spotlight of Mr. Daniels.
Oh,
Does
yeah.
anybody have a favorite? So, oh, Paul, listen, I'm jumping all around. Paul Anka and Perry Como, yes. And my mother loved Paul Anka. Yes.
Yeah. My mom was a big Frank Sinatra fan.
Yes.
Loved Frank Sinatra.
Perry said Hound Dog was a hit. Yeah, first hit written by an African American. Yes. And this is interesting. Look at this. Arlene said, I was contacted by Paramount Plus about using my post for US and global advertisement, kind of like what viewers are saying. Nice, Arlene.
Which one was that?
Which comment? Where was this? Was it the one on Instagram? I bet you it was the one on Instagram. Look at that. Oh, nice. We have someone. Arlene, I put a post out, always looking for guest co-hosts. Arlene, why don't you put on your outfit and join me one of these? And you can be my next week's co-host if you want. Let me know. Send me a message. All right. Elvis's first single, Lillian is saying, Elvis's first single in 1954 was That's All Right. Yes. And then in 1955 was his big hit, which was Jailhouse Rock, I believe. Yep. And he did all that dancing and everybody went wild.
Yes.
Everyone's asking, look, you hijacked my podcast, Arlene, by your comment. They all want to know, what was your comment? Where can they see it? And yes, you must be my co-host. Then we're going to talk about Mr. Daniels. I'm going to show him right now. There he is.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Daniels, who was not a part of this episode. However, I really saw where he could be.
Yeah.
So, do you have any ideas of how he could have been a part of this episode?
Well, yeah, I think he could have been over, like, by the debate, section. I think he could have been over there. Chris was saying the same thing. It's like he comes and goes, like he's sometimes they show him like a split second and then he's off. It's like, I think they want to make him kind of like a mystery.
They do. And if you notice, it's really the only teacher that really has a part.
Yes. Other than the drama teacher they show too quite often, but he is, I was telling Chris too, he's like the only teacher that they really pinpoint on. So that's why I'm thinking that, there's more to this story.
Yes, more to the story. And before I go on, and you are correct, Heartbreak. Thank you, Heartbreak Hotel. Lillian was correcting and saying 1955 was Heartbreak Hotel, correcting me. Okay, yes, true. And we all should know that. My grandma was a big fan, and I grew up on Elvis Presley.
Oh yeah, my sister was a big Elvis fan, so she's probably like, she knows all that.
So back to Mr. Daniels, I was also thinking that I see him in that background, like I think it was episode 2 where he was walking the halls and while they were singing and dancing and talking. But I was thinking he could have very well been, he should be, because not until episode 4 do we even hear more about him and his relationship with Olivia. So he should be there, sort of in the background, in our eye, seeing him.
Yeah.
And
I don't understand why he's like not in the hallways, like standing there, talking to the students or.
he should be. They
Yeah.
should do that. And then also there was that scene where the girls were giving out buttons and vote for Jane, and people were coming down the hall. He could have very well been
Yeah.
walking down in the hallways there. So we always see him on the perimeter, know he's there. And the other thing that I was thinking was, why couldn't he have been going into the Frosty Palace and grabbing his takeout dinner just like the mom was?
Right. Right.
Out of there. Yes.
Yeah.
We Chris McNally fans, we Mr. Daniel fans would appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah.
It would add even more.
What is the other episode he's not in? 7, they said? 3 and 7?
Something towards, 7. Number 7, he's not. Yeah. So I'm excited to discuss next week's, because he's in there.
Yes, and I think he might be shown more, because I do think that more of the story with him and Olivia is coming out,
Yes, little at a time. He says some good stuff, but we won't give it away. Robin says he is doing such a great job as Mr. Daniels in this series. Really mysterious for sure. You know what I did? I know, Christina, you know this, and I don't know if I publicly announced it, but so Chris's management team, which I've talked about before, said he wasn't doing any podcast or any type of, I forget what they said, not media, I think something like that, for the series. So I had written back and I gave them a list of questions and I put clips on. I think, Carrie, if you're here, it was one of a clip that we did and someone else. And I said, we always spotlight him in every episode. And I mean, in each of episodes I have on the podcast, that maybe here's a series of questions. Maybe you could answer those. And then I would share them at each time, but I have not heard back. So that's almost a week ago. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. So we'll see.
We can always hope and pray and keep our fingers crossed, but
I will slowly release what he says, with teasers, if he does. He's doing such a great job. He is. What's Jan say? I think he should have been an advisor to the senior class. Maybe he is. Yeah. Absolutely more to come on that story. Yes, there is. Mr. Daniels needs more airtime, and he could be the senior class advisor, and it's just not been brought up yet. Yes, we agree. And then he may be filming When Calls the Heart at the same time, possibly as per timing of when this was filmed, which maybe he's unavailable. No.
I don't think so, because he wouldn't have had a beard.
Mm-hmm. So he was done When Calls the Heart when he started filming this, right after.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was over a year ago.
Yeah, because he didn't have the beard. No, he wouldn't have filmed When Calls the Heart without a beard.
He's your character in the storyline. Arlene was saying right here, it was my post about my watching episode 1 and 2 with Megan at 3 a.m. and loving it. Okay. I think I remember you saying that now. Yes. All right. So more Mr. Daniels. Well, we will also get more Mr. Daniels when we talk about episode 4. And I'm looking for a co-host. You can join, Arlene. Come on, Arlene. You can join.
Yes.
Carrie's telling us that it was filmed in April 2022. Yes. True. I forgot about the beard. Yeah. All right, boys and girls, friends, pink ladies, T-birds.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yes. We're going to say good night.
All right. And hopefully Thursday will be good.
Yes, it will.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, everyone.